Let's shift our focus back to our special focus here on the SABC now around the resumption of universities, including challenges with registrations, adequate learning spaces as well, certainly in sharp focus. This is in light of the high number of matriculants, of course, who obtained a bachelor's pass. Safety of students and NSFAS debt are also some of the issues that many of these institutions are now having to grapple with. SABC News senior reporter Chriselda Lewis is at Wits University in Braamfontein for us today. And, you know, Chriselda, it's a story we tell every year around this time. One has to wonder to what extent institutions like Wits are doing things differently this time around.
Well, absolutely, Ayanda. It's been a jostle for space as we head towards the opening of these universities early next month. But of course, as you can see here behind me at Wits University, it's already orientation week. So you've got, scores of, youngsters who are now going to be starting, the next phase of their lives at these universities. They've been taken for orientation right here behind me, and a lot of support is being given to these, tertiary learners who have come into a new space. Of course, the support that Wits University has given to them doesn't only include, financial support, but also includes, navigating through this next phase of their lives. I mean, during the previous crossing that I did on the program, or on the channel, in fact, I mean, we spoke about over 300,000 2024 matriculants that obtained those bachelor's or university entrance, but we're looking at about a little over 200,000 of the spaces that are available at 26 of the country's public universities. So there's really a jostle for space, and a lot of focus that we've spoken about over the past week on the channel, Ayanda, is what other options do these learners have? But the process has already begun to orientate these young people into the next phase of their lives. I'm going to speak now first to Professor Zeblon Vilakazi, who is the Vice Chancellor as well as the Principal here at Wits University. Prof, thank you so much for your time this morning. We do appreciate it. I see that it's all systems go here at Wits University. Quite a huge turnout from youngsters who are starting their new chapter of their lives. Talk us through, first of all, orientation week. What does all of that entail? Getting them to understand what the next couple of years will be like for them.
Thank you. It's all hands on deck. This week we are having what is called the Gateway to Success program, where we actually, it's unique, it's the first in the country, pioneered by the Dean of Students and the Office of the Academic Affairs. It largely is about getting young people fresh from high school oriented to university life, from basic things like how to go to the library, how to seek help if you're in trouble, with the various support structures we have, from disability rights units to counseling and support for first years, because we realize that the gap, social, academic and psychological gap between being in grade 12 to university is massive. So this first week really is about it's a pre-orientation, pre-university orientation. Then next week, of course, is about clubs and societies by and large.
Prof, 86,000 applications. You only have 6,000 spaces. It must be quite a mammoth task to try and sift through so many applications to ensure, that I guess the best of the best, those who've done well, are able to go in. Not that the rest have not done well. There just simply isn't any space.
Indeed. Obviously, if we just take more than we can afford, it will affect the quality of teaching, and therefore it's important that we do the best we can to accommodate those that we can accommodate, based obviously on academic merit. And we are one of the most sought after universities, not only in this country and basically beyond. So what it talks about is a need for other alternative means of getting these young people into the post-secondary education system.
And Prof, I mean, there are still some challenges apart from space challenges. In speaking to some of those that are entering the space now and those that have been, we've had challenges with NSFAS. NSFAS not paying the students a debt. That becomes the university's program where you've got to check who is funded by NSFAS. Those are some of the complaints that we are hearing, especially pertaining to registration. How are those issues being dealt with at the university?
Obviously, the university has finite resources because we've got to pay faculty, staff, and everyone who make sure the university runs. But those challenges notwithstanding, we have spared no effort at all in ensuring that a deserving, talented student will be clear of their debt to pass. To this end, we have this year allowed 800 students who have in excess of 65%. We've cleared their debt, right, from our coffers. And we turn around 1.8 billion rand a year through various sources, including NSFAS, sponsorships and guardians, to support 26,000 students or so. Moreover, 160 million rand that comes from the university coffers has gone into supporting both undergraduate and postgraduates on merit scholarships. So that's the best we can do, given the limited resources of a declining, of a stagnant government grant, which I understand, because government has to support other things apart from tertiary education.
Any challenges in registration that may occur might also filter down to issues of accommodation, because I understand, areas like Braamfontein are already full. Some, of the first years might need to go to some of, the other accommodations that are a little bit far from the university. How are we navigating the issue of accommodation? Because that has been one of the issues that we've seen relating to protests that have previously happened at Wits University.
Well, in other universities as well. I mean, let's not single out that. But I think the problem is not as acute as it was 10, 15 years ago, because what has happened is not only has the university stepped up, but largely it has been the private accommodation providers. I mean, you can see walking along Jefferson Street that you've got like a sprouting of new accommodation places, and we work closely with them to ensure that they align with the university, and I think that will go a long way in alleviating the pressure. So I think, this year and going forward, I will see a lot more also developing. So there is a potential now to manage this problem. Obviously, it now becomes a question of affordability.
You're also working very closely with the SRC to manage, student issues. We understand you've also partnered in terms of matching whatever finances they're also able to, get. Talk to us a bit about that program in matching what kind of, contributions have been made, in particular to assist those students from disadvantaged backgrounds.
Right. I'd like to also take this moment first to acknowledge the great effort done by this SRC and the previous ones that actually have stepped up the ladder and said, actually, what can we do to play our part in alleviating this problem? The SRC can't do it by themselves. They will need support, because obviously the university will ensure that it provides the institutional structure to help them with their fundraising effort, and will match that on a rent-to-rent basis. And in the last 2 years, it has actually gone quite a long way in helping some of the marginal students who ordinarily would not be able to re-register at the university. It's not just the SRC's effort, it's an SRC and the community at large, the alumni, friends of the university and donors, to actually play their part in really lending a hand through whatever resources they have to support us in meeting the set goals that we want to achieve.
No protests at the university this year. No protests.
Well, I think for the last year, and largely since 2021, quite a few sporadic protests here and there, but we've reached a level of stability. One cannot predict the future, but I think that what is clear is that going forward, certain tactics have to change. What worked 10 years ago doesn't work now. Technology has evolved, and the nature of work and play has evolved. So I think what were instruments that were used, either in form of protests or whatever, 10, 15, 20 years ago, don't apply in the 21st century in this period of the 21st century. And we, as a university, obviously, are a place where we can have protests if they want to, for issues that they feel strongly about, but obviously they're bounds. And there's a line to be drawn. But I think that we're not going to get yet. Let's not jinx it. Let's focus on the positives. The positives are that we are working very closely with the SRC and other student formations in ensuring that we find means that don't, become counterproductive. Because protests are counterproductive. It affects people's lives. Students' future get affected by protests. So they are better instruments of solving this complex problem than just confrontation between staff and management. In actual fact, I've had a series of conversations with the SRCs, and they actually want to help us and to help them as well. So just using a simple narrative of protest is not a helpful one. So we rather use a narrative of how can we work together to solve this problem as vets, because we are all vets and also as South Africans, because just confrontation doesn't lead us anywhere.
Prof. Vilagasi, thank you very much indeed. We do appreciate your time, sir, the Vice-Chancellor and Principal here at Wits University. Very hopeful, for this year, the assistance that the university has given to, in particular, disadvantaged students and those with some of the debt. As you heard, 800 students. The press release that was sent out, earlier this week, speaking about Christmas coming early for, those particular students, 800 of them having their debt being written off. But there are many of those, of course, who've probably gone through a number of challenges in order to get to this next step of their lives. And I'm going to speak now to Kabelo Kekana, who is a first-year blind student studying law. And Kabelo, good morning to you. Thank you very much for your time. I guess you've already received your welcome at Wits University. How are you feeling about starting your first year?
I'm feeling so excited because Wits is a great university, and being the position one student in a country, it's a very great thing, and I chose Wits because it's the greatest country, it's the greatest university in the country.
Yeah, and I understand that you ranked #1 around the country as a special needs student. I mean, how did you navigate through, some of the challenges that you experience in order to rank #1 countrywide as a top student with special needs?
I was always determined to study because I knew that working very hard will get me to very great things in life. So when I made my research about the toppest universities in the country, I found that Wits was also on the list, and I wanted to see myself there. So I was always working harder on my studies so that I can pursue my dream of being in Wits, because I researched also about the Disability Rights Unit, which offers the greatest services in the university for students living with disability.
And you're going to be studying law?
Yes, I'm going to be studying law.
I mean, why law? There's so many things you could have chosen from, but there's obviously something that drew you to law.
Yes. So my reason for studying law is because I want to bring justice in the country for students. Secondly, I want to be an entrepreneur so that I can run my own legal terms for my company.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, and congratulations. And we look forward to speaking to you in a couple of years' time once you've graduated. All the best, and I'm sure you're going to work very hard. Thank you very much. We're speaking, of course, there to Kabelo Kekana, who's a first-year blind student studying law here at Wits University. There's also a lot of support there, Ayanda, for students with special needs like Kabelo, and the support that is given to some of these students, and many of those that you can see here behind me, is certainly what is going to start off the year. But of course, the expectation is that the academic year will get off to a good start sometime at the beginning of next month, and we'll certainly be tracking how these universities are doing, as of course all the registration gets underway.
Yeah, absolutely. Their future lies ahead of them, and hopefully it's a smooth ride. Chriselda Lewis, live to us there from Wits University in Johannesburg. Thanks very much indeed.